Welcome to the world of fake beef, where meat is more of an idea than an actual ingredient. Now, why would anyone fake beef in the first place? Simple. Real beef is expensive. In many places, a single kilo can cost as much as a nice dinner out. But cheap meats like chicken, duck, or pork, those are dirt cheap in comparison. So, instead of paying steakhouse prices, some factories play Frankenstein and mash these cheaper meats together into something that looks kinda beefish. And when the flavor isn't convincing enough, no problem. Just sprinkle in some beef essence. Yes, that's a real thing. Add a few tendons for chewiness, toss in gelatin for that bouncy steak texture, and boom, you've got yourself a DIY cow. But it gets worse. Some factories don't even bother with decent scraps. We're talking leftover bits that most people wouldn't touch. Internal organs, strange tissues, even rejected trimmings that were never meant for any plate. These bits get ground down, mixed with chemical helpers, and reshaped into perfectly normal-looking minced beef. Feeling hungry yet? To make it look fresh and red, coloring agents step in. Because nothing says farm fresh like a laboratory-approved shade of crimson. A little chemistry, a little deception, and suddenly the meat is glowing with artificial wholesomeness. And for those who want to cut costs to absolute rock bottom, some even skip meat altogether. Eggs, starches, plant proteins, blended and molded into a meat-like block that's less steak and more science experiment. The result? A product that might look like beef, cook like beef, and even smell like beef, but could be made from anything but beef. This isn't just food fraud. It's a trust crisis. Every time something like this appears in a market, it doesn't just threaten health. It chips away at confidence in the entire food system. Aside from beef, there's fake pork belly too. Unbelievable. First, they take an actual piece of pork belly, not to sell it, but to use it as a template. Next, they prepare the fake ingredients. A mysterious mixture is created to mimic the fat and meat layers of pork belly. This raw material is then poured directly into the mold, filling every groove and line that was copied from the real meat. After that, the mold goes into an oven. It's heated until it sets and hardens into shape. Once it cools, the fake pork slab is carefully removed. Workers then trim the edges, clean the surface, and polish it up so it looks like a freshly cut, authentic piece of pork belly. At first glance, you'd never know the difference. Same shape, same layers, same texture, but not a real animal ever created it. It's a factory-made illusion, built to fool buyers who think they're getting the real thing. You think this is the end? No. There are fake drumsticks too. Yes, even chicken legs aren't safe anymore. Factories start by grinding together whatever cheap meats they can get, plus starch, flavor enhancers, and a generous splash of chicken essence to trick your taste buds. If you thought fake drumsticks were bad, wait until you hear about fake duck blood. In some markets, the duck blood is a very popular ingredient for hot pots in China, but it doesn't contain any duck at all. Factories mix industrial-grade gelatin, cheap starch, food dyes, and a cocktail of chemical coagulants to create those dark red cubes. They look convincing, they hold their shape, but they're basically toxic jelly. Real duck blood spoils quickly, but this artificial version lasts unnaturally long, because it's packed with substances your body absolutely shouldn't process. Here's the scary part. If something as simple as beef can be faked this convincingly, what else on your plate is wearing a costume? So the next time you're handed a suspiciously cheap meat dish, ask yourself one important question. Is that a meat? Or is it a chemistry project? Imagine cracking open an egg and discovering it's not even real. No farm, no chicken, just chemicals, molds, and a perfect illusion. A shopper recently shared her shock after buying eggs that looked totally normal on the outside, But the moment she tried to crack them open, something felt off. Instead of splitting smoothly, they broke awkwardly in the middle. The shell looked slightly darker than usual, and the white didn't behave like a normal egg white. Even stranger, the yolk wasn't soft and delicate. It sat there as one solid, uniform blob, like a rubbery sphere dropped from a mold. No natural texture. No variation. Just one strange lump tinted to look like a real yolk. That perfectly even color. Not natural. It's often created using dyes and chemical coloring agents. And instead of having that recognizable egg aroma, these fake eggs had no smell, no flavor, nothing. Completely lifeless. So what's supposedly inside them? The strange part is that fake eggs aren't grown. They're manufactured. The egg white starts as a liquid mixture made from certain chemical compounds combined with water. This mixture is stirred until it thickens into a gel-like substance that visually resembles real egg white. Next comes the yolk. A very similar mixture is used again, but with added coloring to achieve that golden yellow shade. This liquid is then poured into round molds to hold the familiar yolk shape, and soaked in a separate solution to harden it. Finally, there's the shell, made from a blend of chalky substances. These are pressed into molds designed to copy the size and shape of an actual eggshell. Layer by layer, the parts are assembled. The result? Something that looks like an egg, feels like an egg, but contains zero actual nutrition. No protein, no vitamins, and if consumed over time, it may seriously affect your health. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, it doesn't stop at eggs. When you think it couldn't get more brazen, wait until you see what they did to one of the world's most iconic cookies, Oreo. In China, there's an entire underground economy built on ripping off Oreo cookies. And I'm not talking subtle rip-offs, I'm talking full-on identity theft, but for snacks. Meet Li Yu. Meet Yu Liao Yu. These aren't Oreo's cool foreign cousins, they're shameless imposters. These companies don't just borrow inspiration, they photocopy the entire vibe. Blue and white packaging? Check. That iconic cookie pattern? Stolen. Even the slogan, twist, lick, dunk. Yet, they nabbed that too. It's like showing up to a party wearing the exact same outfit as someone else, but insisting you wore it better. Apparently, trademark theft wasn't enough. Some of these knockoff cookies come with bonus protein. I'm talking about worms, actual worms. Consumers have reported finding these little surprise guests inside their ALEU packages. And when they call the sellers pure comedy gold, suddenly it's excuse bingo. That's impossible. Must be a storage issue. Prove it was ours. One victim got offered a few thousand renmin buy in hush money. Because nothing says, we're innocent, like desperately throwing cash at the problem. And this isn't a one-off horror story. Multiple cases. Multiple worms. Multiple companies pretending they have nitrogen monoxide idea how larvae ended up in their quality-controlled products. Here's where it gets spicy. China does not play around with this stuff. These cases land on the desk of the Market Regulation Administration, basically the trademark police. And when they catch you, oh boy. Under China's trademark law and anti-unfair competition law, fines can hit 5 times your illegal revenue. Can't calculate your shady earnings? Cool, here's a casual 5 million yuan fine instead. That's approximately 700 grand in USD. Suddenly, that knockoff cookie business doesn't seem so sweet. This isn't theoretical. In Shanghai, Mars, Oreo's parent company, sued an Aulia Duo producer and absolutely demolished them in court. The multiple AOLIU operations got raided, products confiscated, massive fines dropped, and their cases became poster children for what not to do. Sometimes the danger isn't in what they're making, it's in how they're moving it. What if the oil you're using to fry your eggs today was sitting in the same truck that hauled kerosene yesterday, and nobody bothered to wash it out. Sounds like a horror movie plot, except this is real, and it's sending shockwaves through China in 2024. This is the most shocking food safety controversy that has the entire nation questioning what's really in their kitchens in 2024. The story broke when a Chinese investigative report exposed a dirty little open secret in the transport industry. According to the findings, tanker trucks were used to carry daily essentials like cooking oil and sweet syrups. And then, without proper cleaning, those very same trucks were reused to transport industrial fuels like coal oil and kerosene. Think about that for a moment. That's like using the same glass for drinking water, right after filling it with paint thinner. So why was this happening? The answer is simple and ugly. Cost-cutting. Cleaning and flushing tankers properly costs time and money. And some companies decided that saving cash was more important than protecting people. The blowback was immediate. Consumers panicked. Medical experts warned that long-term exposure to industrial oil residue could lead to toxic poisoning and even permanent damage to major organs such as the liver and kidneys. In response, Chinese authorities launched a formal investigation. One of the major companies linked to the case is Sinograin, the country's largest grain storage and transportation enterprise. The company claims it is conducting a full internal review and says any trucks found to have broken the rules will be taken out of service. Two other private firms, Hopeful and a major oil and grain group, are also under scrutiny. But this scandal isn't happening in a vacuum. China has a painful history with food safety disasters. In 2008, a terrifying revelation shocked the world when baby formula was found to be contaminated with melamine, a chemical used in plastics. 6 children died. Tens of thousands were left sick. The name Sanlu became synonymous with tragedy. In more recent years, more ugly scenes surfaced. Meat dropped on dirty floors and still packaged for sale. Factory workers ignoring basic hygiene. And even a viral video showing a beer factory employee urinating on raw ingredients. Why does this latest scandal matter so much politically? Because President Xi has repeatedly promised that cleaning up China's food safety system is a top priority. The deception has gotten so advanced that even nature's purest products aren't safe. Not even honey. China is even making fake honeycomb. Why is China trying to ruin itself? Most people love eating honey taken straight from a honeycomb because it is rich and naturally sweet. Sadly, in today's market, even adulterated honeycomb is often sold as pure, and it can be very hard to tell the difference. This fake honeycomb is created by pouring a blend of sugar and honey-flavored syrup into metal molds. Once it dries, the mixture hardens and forms a honeycomb-like shape. The artificial comb is then taken out, sliced into pieces, and sold in markets at a high price.
Very beautiful, very neat. Today I'll demonstrate for everyone. Just like this, cutting it fresh on the spot. Many people don't understand the foundation sheet in the middle is actually made from beeswax and paraffin wax from candles. This is to enhance its hardness and toughness. Listen to the sound and you'll know. We beekeepers generally don't eat this kind of honeycomb. This kind of honeycomb is not natural. Let me show you the honeycomb that our little bees build themselves.
Another darkly joked that with food like this, no external enemy was necessary. Because imagine spending your entire life raising bees, protecting hives and harvesting pure honey, only to discover that millions of people are being fooled by something that never came from a flower. That's exactly what sparked one beekeeper to take a risk that might change everything. And what he exposed shocked an entire online marketplace. A veteran beekeeper recently went public with evidence against a popular brand selling what it claimed was premium Changbai Mountain Linden Snow Honey. According to him, this wasn't just a small operation. This product had a market value reaching over 100 million, and was being promoted by tens of thousands of online sellers. He explained that he normally avoids calling out specific brands. It isn't his business to hunt down fake products. But this time, he said he could no longer stay silent. In fact, he stated that the substance inside the jar didn't even qualify as honey by scientific standards. Based on his decades of experience in beekeeping and honey tasting, he confidently said that both the so-called linden honey and the wild honey from the same sellers were completely fake. He then asked a powerful question. If these products have been sold openly for years, how did no one step in sooner? Where were the regulators? And why were major shopping platforms continuing to allow it? At the time of his statement, he calculated that over 50,000 online streamers and sellers were still promoting the product to unsuspecting buyers. He knew the danger in speaking up, calling out that many sellers could easily provoke backlash or retaliation. But he made it clear, staying silent would be worse. As long as he stood for the truth, he refused to be intimidated. The beekeeper also pointed out the higher cost of this problem. While counterfeit products dominated online platforms, real beekeepers were struggling to survive. Genuine honey was sitting unsold while imitations filled shopping carts. What made the situation even more alarming was how widespread the product had become, appearing not just on one platform, but across multiple major online marketplaces. So the next time you pick up that jar of honey, crack open an egg, or bite into what you think is real meat, ask yourself, in a world where even nature's simplest gifts can be faked, what can you really trust anymore?